I don't know which way the compromise is. Am I compromising my business or compromising my family? So it is. It isn't. It's
Hard one, isn't it? But if you
have
had the
to.
superpower, you wouldn't need to choose, would you?
I might adopt that if I get asked that on a podcast. I might pinch that one. Episode 54 with Natalie Collins talking about marketing strategy. This is one of two sessions, so be sure to catch the next podcast as well. Right, guys, we are now on the Salon Help Good to Go podcast. My name is Carl Hinder, and today I am with Natalie Collins. Natalie, I think we should dive straight into the podcast and find out some stuff about you. I know the audience is dying to find out about marketing, but what about Natalie? Let's get to know you a little bit. And I know I've got some questions that I usually line up. Let's start off with maybe one of your pet hates, but we will find out about your background shortly as well.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be on Carl's podcast. I've met some of the members already, so I'm really looking forward to getting to know everybody else. So my pet hate. Well, I am a copywriter, so I think my pet hate needs to be things not being done correctly, typos in social media posts, typos in magazines or something. It's just like a big red light to me. So I hate seeing those. So that's got to be my number one pet hate.
Is that something are you a perfectionist as well then?
Yes, I like things to be done properly. If you're going to do something, do it polished and do it nicely. I think that's a bit to do with my marketing background as well. If things look polished, you look professional, and it just gives your brand a better image, doesn't it? So I'm all about the polish.
Oh, right. Well, that's really good because the concept of this podcast, Good to Go. So for new listeners and viewers, actually, because we're going to be on YouTube with this as well. If you guys go back to my very first ever episode, I explained why this was good to go. So we won't go through it all again, but I've also suffered, can we call it that, suffered with perfectionism over the years. And I had to get to a stage in my career and my life, actually, where I had to understand what good to go was. When was it good enough? You know what I mean? That's hard, isn't it? It's hard to get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, you can, if any of you use Canva and you're in there doing a design, you can spend hours trying to do something and you think, oh, it's still not good enough, it's still not good enough. But, it's when things are thrown out really sloppily and there's typos and things and it just doesn't give a good reflection, does it? So that's my number one pet hate.
Oh, excellent. Okay, well, that's fair enough. I think a lot of us, I would say, suffer with that. A lot of us have that kind of desire, if you like. Okay, what about?
Busy, aren't they? So it's just when things are kind of thrown out there willy nilly. Really, better to do one good thing than 10 sloppy things.
I know, but I envy people who can go and low. I don't mean lower their standards in terms of like customer service, but can just say, that's good enough, and get on with life. Because yeah, that's a real challenge. What about? I wanted to ask you, and we always have some icebreakers when we do these podcasts. Do you have a superpower? And if you don't, what would it be if you could have one?
I don't have one, but this is easy because if I did have one, it would need to be, I think, to split into two of me because I've got two little children and they just want me to take them out and play games with them and do, be mummy. And then obviously I've got my business now. I'm a business owner and as everybody else will know, you kind of want to be a business owner 24 hours of the day, even when you're falling asleep at night and when you wake up in the morning. So if there was two of me, I could have business owner Natalie and mummy and wife Natalie. So that would be really nice.
I think there's going to be a lot of people nodding along to this.
Yeah.
Going, God, I would love that as well. I mean, with the same in my house. We've got older children, but they're at everything from karate to rugby to scuba diving to parties. Oh, it is an absolutely crazy world. And I am one of those people, one of those business people that loves to work lots of hours and late as well. I don't know which way the compromise is. Am I compromising my business or compromising my family? So it isn't it? It's
Hard one, isn't it? But if you had
heck.
the superpower, you wouldn't need to choose, would you?
I might adopt that. If I get asked that on a podcast, I might pinch that one. So clearly, to me at least anyway, clearly you're currently a marketing expert, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But if you weren't doing that, and I'm thinking more like aspirational, would you like to be like a rocket scientist or a politician or what?
Do you know
You
what?
know,
I saw this. Someone put this on LinkedIn a week or two ago. If you weren't doing what you were doing, what would you like to do? This is going to sound really boring, but I love history. And I said on the on this guy's LinkedIn post, I would just love to be a historian, like on BBC, roaming around a castle, presenting, who used to live there. And I love the Tudors. So I think it's kind of the old fashioned, is the gossip magazine of the day, isn't it?
wonderful.
Who cheated on who and who was a good queen. But I love history, and a lot of people find that they're surprised when I tell them that because history sounds so boring. But I just find it so interesting. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's because we are kind of, I don't know, aspirational as a race, if you like, and we always like looking, like I said, what I just mentioned there, like, do you want to go into space? It's always about looking forward, isn't it? So it is surprising, although I think quite a lot of people would like to go back and have dinner with someone in history or see how things were for real.
Well,
But
for my hen party, my bridesmaids dressed me up as Henry VIII. So I think that goes to prove how much I love it.
great. Well, now we could talk about the amount of husbands and wives, but I think we'll move on with the podcast here. Okay, so we kind of had a bit of fun there. What about yourself now? Let's do the serious part of what you do as a profession. And I'm always interested when people talk about their jobs, if you like, about
Mm.
what makes them an expert.
Yeah. So I love everything to do with marketing. I've worked in marketing now for 20 years. I studied it at university. And when I first started out in marketing, I worked in public relations. So if any of you work on PR for your business, that's about kind of getting businesses into magazines, into newspapers, onto online websites, writing really interesting stories about businesses so that magazines and papers will cover that story. So when I first started out, I worked in PR, and I absolutely loved the excitement of, getting a client on the front page of a newspaper or getting them some really good coverage, getting ITV or BBC out to their event to cover their event on the 6 o'clock news. And I absolutely loved everything about it. And I just fell in love with marketing from there. And rather than just focusing on PR, I then moved into the marketing side of things. So I focused on kind of brand building. I've worked on campaigns. And then more recently, I was a marketing manager for managing a team. And then we looked after the full marketing mix. So, social media has evolved so much over the 20 years since I started working in it. It's just such an exciting industry, and there's so many marketing opportunities, events, influencer marketing, all the new social media platforms, websites, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger, as everything's going digital. So the one thing that I love to always talk about is just how much is involved in marketing. Everyone just thinks, oh, it's just social media. There's so much more to marketing than just social media. So I'm still excited about working in marketing 20 years later. And hopefully I still will be in 20 years' time as well.
I'm sure you will. Look, marketing's not going anywhere. I mean, you've already demonstrated that you're an expert. Marketing's not, and I think business owners are always thinking, maybe not all of them, many business owners are thinking that marketing is the bit that they want to do, that it's the exciting part, because they get to express themselves, they get their brand across, their personalities across. But sometimes they don't have those skills, do they? Sometimes they're kind of, they need an expert, they need guidance, because it is such a huge field.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with marketing, and I get that quite a lot, or we don't want to pay for marketing, we'll just do it ourselves. And I think that comes down to what I've just said, when everyone thinks marketing, most people, is doing a Facebook post or doing an Instagram video. What I specialize in is kind of the marketing strategy and the marketing planning. Because if you don't have a strategy and you don't have a plan, you're just waking up one morning thinking, oh, I'll just go and set up a TikTok account today. Then, a few weeks down the line, you're going to be wondering why no one's liking your content, or why you're not getting any inquiries, or why you're not hitting your marketing goals. And I think that's kind of where a marketing expert comes in, because we know the bigger picture. We talk a lot about, are you targeting the right audience? Are you saying the right messages? Are you doing the right activity? There's so many business owners out there thinking that they've got to do something because everyone else is doing it. Don't do what everyone else is doing. Really take that back seat and just think, what do I need to do? Where are my audience? What do they want to hear me say into them? And that's what kind of marketing strategy and marketing planning is all about. Having that plan before you just go and dive into a piece of activity, invest 2-3 hours a day in it, and then you're wondering why it's not working a few weeks later. So I could talk about marketing strategy and marketing planning all day long. Is so important.
And that's interesting. When you talk about target audience, I mean, I talk to my clients about their ideal client or their target audience or their avatar. I think is a trend word for it. I kind of get a lot of resistance to that. Lots of people that I've come across in all of the industries, but it's not just the salon spa clinic industry. It's in lots of small businesses. Think that everyone is their client. How do you kind of overcome that, or how do you feel about that?
Okay, so trying to target everyone everywhere is very hard, even for marketing professionals. So even if you do believe that all genders, all locations, all ages are your target audience, pick 2 to 3 target audiences that are your key ones, is what I would say. So when I say your key target audience, who comes into your salon most, males or females? What are the general age of most people coming into your salon? And that's going to help you identify your target audience. Another way, if you've got a social media channel or a website, go in and look at the stats. Instagram will tell you that 99% of people following you might be female, and they might be between the age of 25 and 35, and they are based in Cardiff. So why would you be targeting, 18-year-old males based in Swansea? So if you're on social media, the same with Google Analytics, if you've got a website, it will tell you the majority of the visitors to your website. It'll tell you their gender, where they're from, the age range. On social media, you can even target by interests. So it doesn't have to be that you just have to say, I'm only targeting 18 to 25-year-old females. It could be that you're targeting those, and then you're also targeting 45 to 55-year-old females. But what you've got 2 target audiences, and then you can start asking those deeper questions. Where are my younger females? Are they on TikTok? On TikTok, I will only say messages targeted to that younger group. When I'm targeting my 45 to 55-year-old females, where are they? Are they on LinkedIn? On LinkedIn, I will only say messages targeted to that group. So once you identify your target audiences, you can then start thinking, where are my audiences? What do they want me to say to them? It might be that you want to be on all social media platforms, but make sure that on those platforms, you know who you're speaking to on those platforms. The same with website. Who's finding you through your website? The same with PR. Where are you putting out your stories? Is it in your local newspaper? What do you want to say with for that piece of marketing activity? So, no, what I would say, Carl, in answer to your question, don't try and target everyone. You do need to identify key audiences, and then once you've nailed those, you could even add on another, couldn't you? But even, even for me, trying to target everyone everywhere is a full-time job of about 100 people.
Yeah. I mean, one of the interesting words that we use there lots and lots and lots of times was the word target, because sometimes when we're analyzing our clients, we have to analyze the business, and we have to say, is the business going to achieve its potential with existing clients? And sometimes your existing clients, and I don't know if you're agreeing with this, so you'll have to say in a moment, aren't your people of the future, and we have to retarget the right type of clients to achieve what you want to achieve. So sometimes marketing and getting more of the same people can be quite detrimental to a business if they're the wrong clients in the first place. If these clients are what do they say, price sensitive, that'd be probably a good example. Then maybe we need people that are less price sensitive. So yes, I think targeting. I mean, I'm big on targeting audiences for salons. It drives me crazy. I got to be honest with you, when I see salons saying everyone who walks past
Yeah,
is our client.
it's tricky.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why, because every client that walks past a premises can potentially put money in the till, certainly very, very short term, but they're unlikely to be an intrinsic part of a long-term strategy.
Mm. And it's interesting what you just said about, looking at who your current audience are, and making them your current target audience, because I had this recently. I started at a company and we were targeting young people to study an apprenticeship with us. Now, when I looked on the Instagram analytics, it showed that the target audience, the most followers that we had on Instagram, were 45 plus year old females. So I could see straight away that the people following us on social media was not the target audience that we needed to be hitting. So therefore, you need to say to yourself, the content that I'm putting out on social media is not the content that's attracting the audience that I want to attract. So we started putting, more engaging, more fun content out there, and then you can see that target audience shifting more towards the target audience that you want to be targeting. And you know what? It's really exciting when you've got a plan and then you keep going in every month and you can see your analytics moving towards what you're trying to move towards.
Yeah.
I normally do kind of monthly reports just to show that what you're trying to do, you're achieving it.
Good. Okay. Look, there's some. I want to move on to something, because this is my bugbear. If I was on your podcast, you could ask me, "What's your pet hate?" And in a professional way, it's this. In our industry, sorry, in the industry that I'm currently working in, which is mainly salon, spas, and clinics.
Mm.
This includes booth renters, chair renters, freelance, all that sort of stuff. Well over 70%. Do you know, when I researched this, I couldn't even believe the stats myself. And I've had them reinforced time and time and time again. Well over 70% of businesses have no website or even a landing page. And when I say this, I mean, I don't mean a booking system that they've imported from some software company. I'm talking about a dedicated site. Now, to me, in this day and age, seems crazy. Do you agree with that?
Mm.
Do you think there's a massive opportunity missed here? Do you think it's an integral part, or maybe the cornerstone of what they should be doing?
Look, with most of the marketing activity that you do, no matter whether you're attending events or sending emails or doing social media, that should be driving people to a website. That's kind of the main thing. That's your main call to action with most of your marketing activity, isn't it? So not having a website, it's going to hinder you then, isn't it? I imagine that the majority of businesses are probably relying on social media maybe instead of kind of as a replacement of a website. Social media is fun. People would probably prefer to be doing social media than a website. But you can't underestimate, the amount of people going on to Google that will just search best hairdresser in Swansea because they're looking for a new hair salon.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a website, you're not coming up on those Google searches. You've still got your social media feeds, which might still rank, but it's not going to be the replacement of a website, is it?
Well, I also think that, if you're doing other marketing, maybe analog, traditional marketing, let's say you decide that, I don't know, posters, leaflets, business cards, all of those things can be an important part of a strategy. If you get one of those through your door, or you get one of those in your hand in the high street, you don't react to that leaflet. You go and look on the website. If someone gives me a leaflet for a restaurant, I don't go, yep, book. I go on the website, don't I? I go and have a look. Oh, how far away are they? Have they got parking? Have they got the kind of menu that I want? What are their opening hours? I think your website is your, like I said, your signpost. I call it their window to the business, because
Yeah,
the difference between your social media and your website, and you correct me at any time, you're the expert here, right? Is that it's a window into your business 24/7, and only your website says what you want it to say. Whereas your socials are like a revolving kind of door, if you like. You could go to bed, and your website is going to say, I don't know, I'm an award-winning business, I'm an award-winning salon. But your social media, since you're going to bed, someone's put a complaint on there, said that you're rubbish, okay, or said something. If you don't have a total control over your socials in the way that you do a website, and you don't get the same access. Now, I know we
yeah,
can set our socials up better. We can set them up better with opening hours and price lists and that sort of stuff, and we don't. So the client's got to go there and they've got to scroll through. It just feels like a barrier to me that socials, and we'll talk about them in a moment, but um, socials are being substituted. I think they're a great addition.
website. Yeah, I mean, websites can hold a lot more information, can't they? Like you've said, and somebody visiting your social media, it kind of, it depends. The last post that you've done is what they're going to see when they land, and the last post that you've done might have been, a Christmas night out with all your staff. Whereas the website is, as soon as they land, they're going to be able to find exactly what they need straight away. So you can't underestimate, the importance of a website. I think some barriers might be, websites are a bit too complicated. Maybe they're too expensive. There are templates out there to try and do a website yourself. You can do a website for free on Wix, or you can try and do a free one. But websites don't have to cost a lot of money. I've partnered with a company who does really cost-effective websites, and then you just get a username and password, and you kind of look after your website yourself. So you don't have to be paying thousands for a website if cost is a barrier. And they don't have to be overly complicated either. You can have a website with just a few pages with your services about you, and then your contact us page. And they're kind of an evolving thing. You can make them bigger if you want to. You can just have a really simple one. But the important thing is that you've got a website, so people searching on Google, they're going to be able to find you then. And obviously you can have a Google My Business page, which helps get you higher up the rankings as well when people are just looking for a local hair salon. So just investing that time in a website is very much worth it.
Yeah, I think the traditional view is that websites are very expensive, and I think that maybe that message is continued, and so smaller businesses are like, rather than put a few hundred or £500, or maybe they think it's multiple thousands. I mean, that is very hard for a very small business starting off to invest in something, especially if they're not an expert in it, or they've had bad experiences in the past. I do kind of get it. I just find it very difficult to believe that in 2024 now, that
Yeah,
anyone wouldn't have one. You'd think it would be, right, I'm going to start a business. right, let's build a website or let's get a
Website.
website.
I mean, the majority of I've mainly worked as an in-house marketing manager, and the businesses that I've worked in, website is your main source of inquiries. If
Mm.
you're doing 3 social media posts a week and you're not getting many inquiries, that's probably it's not unusual. Social media isn't going to generate hundreds and hundreds of inquiries unless you're doing the paid for ads. But with a website, it generally generates a lot more inquiries than social media. So it's worth, once you've got one, you can compare the two then, see where the majority of your inquiries are coming from. If it's 50-50, you could say, right, I spend 50% of my time on social, 50% of my time on website, but you should be concentrating the majority of your time on where your inquiries are coming from.
Yeah, I mean, this came up as an interesting point for me when I did a survey very, very recently asking businesses, do they feel that they're at threat of closing down?
Mm,
And in the next, I think I said the next 12 to 18 months, and around 20 odd percent, 22%, I think, or something like that, said yes. So I then took it upon myself and went to look at their websites and their social media. And it was no coincidence, I don't think, that almost every single one of that 20 odd percent didn't have a website and were awful at social media. You're
mm.
not giving yourself the best chance, are you? If you have no website and then your social media, it's not engaging, it's not being used every day, it doesn't give you the information. It feels like you're kind of trying to succeed with one arm behind your back.
Yeah, and do you know what I see a lot of is that marketing is an additional thing on the to-do list. Oh, I need to do all this, and then I need to do the marketing. And what I think is important to kind of get away from that way of thinking is that if you want more customers, marketing isn't an additional thing. It's the way that you get more customers. So it's kind of the process of helping you be where you want to be rather than, oh, I need to get more customers and then I need to go and do my marketing and do my website. Doing your marketing and doing your website is the way to get to your business goals. It's not kind of an additional burden. And unfortunately, it's not just your industry, but I think that's the way that a lot of people think. Instead of seeing marketing as kind of the support system to get you where you need to be.
Yeah, two things spring to mind there. One is I don't think we should turn marketing on and off as much as we do either. I always tell my guys that we should be marketing when we are at our busiest so that we, maintain the momentum. But that links into my second point, where most small business owners, including the sector that I mainly work in, but they are engrossed in the day-to-day activity. Whether they're cutting hair or whether they're a shopkeeper, they're engrossed in the day-to-day. So it's very difficult for them. So to those people, I've got to say, look, you've got to move away from the chores. If you're a hairdresser, you've got to move away from the chores because your job should be a macro operation. You should be looking at marketing strategy. You should be looking at pricing strategy. You should look at a recruitment strategy. The more you're dragged down to the daily chores, the less effective you can be. So I think that's what happens. People just get so bogged down that
In the day to day,
they
yeah.
don't get to
And
do
sometimes it might just be worth allocating, an afternoon, or even if it's an hour or two, just say, right, on a Monday afternoon or a Sunday morning, I'm going to do 2 hours of marketing, and have your to-do list of all of everything you want to achieve, and then just tick something off, even if it's just once a week, and then you're doing it then, aren't you, going forward? Instead of like you said, getting stuck bogged down with the day-to-day things. And there are so many marketing there's so much marketing support out there now. With some of the clients that I work with, I just I'll spend 4 hours a week and I'll do their social media posts for them for that week. do the image, the copy, and the design and schedule them. And even if it was once a month, if you just had someone coming in once a month, doing a few hours, bulk writing your posts and scheduling them, that's something to just tick off your list then. I suppose it's weighing up, what could you be doing otherwise instead of doing that, isn't it? And just seeing what's going to be more important to your business.
Thanks for listening to the Salon Help Good to Go podcast. We continue our marketing journey in episode 55 with Natalie Collins. You've listening to the Salon Help Good to Go podcast. Please take a look in the show notes for Natalie's link. Leave a review and please let other Salon Spa clinic owners know that I am here every Sunday at 4 p.m. helping them kickstart their week.